Herbert Hoover's presidency is remembered more for the Great Depression than for his earlier successes as a brilliant engineer and humanitarian. But behind the scenes, Hoover and his equally accomplished wife, Lou Henry, were also parents, and their two sons, Herbert Jr. and Alan, lived fascinating lives that took them far from the shadow of the Oval Office. In this video, we're diving into the surprising and inspiring stories of the two Hoover sons. What were they like? What did they do? And why has history almost forgotten them? Number 2, Herbert Hoover Jr., born on August 4, 1903, in London, England. If his dad was the face of relief missions and global negotiations, Herbert Jr. was more of the quiet genius type. Less into politics, more into tech, way before it was cool. His early life? Basically a crash course in international living. While other kids were learning how to ride bikes, Herbert Jr. was busy absorbing global cultures and hearing his parents talk strategy during relief missions and engineering projects. By the time he graduated from Stanford in 1925, he had a mind for business and an engineer's hunger for solving problems. And then came aviation. Imagine this. The year is 1929 and air travel is like the Wild West. No rules, no consistent radio communication, and a whole lot of turbulence, literally and figuratively. Enter Herbert Jr., who saw a huge problem and came up with a solution. Aeronautical Radio, Inc., or ARINC. Not ringing a bell? Don't worry, you've definitely benefited from his work. ARINC was the first system that allowed pilots and air traffic controllers to talk to each other reliably. It made flying safer, more efficient, less like gambling with your life. And yeah, it made headlines. Herbert Jr. even landed on the cover of Time magazine in 1930. Not bad for a guy whose dad was still being roasted in the newspapers. But he didn't stop there. He shifted gears into oil, because why not dominate another industry? Hoover Jr. founded United Geophysical Company, using seismic tech to find oil before it was trendy. This wasn't just another rich guy drilling holes in the desert. He revolutionized how oil was found and helped power a generation. His company got bought by Union Oil, and he kept running things as president. Oh, and in case that wasn't enough, he also became a diplomat. In 1953, President Eisenhower sent him to Iran during the massive oil crisis. It was a mess, tensions high, stakes higher, and Hoover Jr. helped cool things down. He negotiated, he got deals made, and soon after, he became Under-Secretary of State. Think about that. The same kid who once played under mining carts in China was now involved in major international oil diplomacy. He married Margaret Eva Watson in 1925, and together they had 3 kids, Peggy, Pete, and Joan. He passed away in 1969, at the age of 65, after a stroke. But his fingerprints are still all over the aviation and oil industries today. A quiet empire built without ever stepping behind a presidential podium. Number 1. Allen Henry Hoover. Born July 17, 1907 in London, he also had the jet-setting childhood of a diplomat's kid. He once watched an air raid during World War I from a rooftop in London. Seriously. While adults were ducking for cover, Allen and Herbert Jr. were catching the show. Allen took a slightly different path from his brother. After graduating from Stanford and then Harvard Business School, he dabbled in banking before shifting into mining and agriculture. But unlike the straight-laced businessmen of his time, Allen had style. He founded a huge agribusiness in California's San Joaquin Valley. Got involved in mining all over the world. He became a financial advisor to the Rockefeller family, and he even joined the elite investment firm Lazard Frères. The guy knew money, and he knew how to make it grow. But here's the part that makes Allen stand out. He never forgot where he came from. In 1935, he bought his dad's birthplace in West Branch, Iowa, for $4,500, barely more than pocket change today. He restored it, protected it, and helped launch what would later become the Herbert Hoover Presidential Library and Museum. He was on the board of the Hoover Institution at Stanford for more than 50 years. And thanks to him, the legacy of a president most remember for economic disaster now includes tales of global relief missions, engineering marvels, and, yes, even family pets. Speaking of pets, this might be the most unexpected part of Alan Hoover's story. Apparently, a guy named Clarence Woolley gifted Alan 2 baby alligators. Yep, alligators. Real ones. At first, Alan kept them in the bathtub, but, surprise, surprise, they kept escaping. It became such a hassle that the family had to donate them to the Smithsonian Zoo. Because what else do you do with alligators casually lounging around your house? It's the kind of story that reminds you, no matter how famous or powerful someone is, they still have weird family stories. And this one is pure gold. Alan married Margaret Coberly in 1937. They had 3 kids, Alan Jr., Andrew, and Lou Henry, named after her grandma. Alan lived a long life, passing away in 1993 at the age of 86. But thanks to him, people today still walk through Herbert Hoover's childhood home, still read his letters, still learn about the work he did that saved 20 million people from starving during World War I. All because his son refused to let the world forget. To most people, the name Hoover brings to mind soup lines, stock market crashes, or a vacuum cleaner. But Herbert Hoover's sons were far more than footnotes in a history book. They were innovators, diplomats, engineers, financiers, and keepers